I think that's, what everybody's hanging their hat on.
All right, Brett, thank you very much. We're going to stick around and catch you at 6 o'clock. Special report, got a big hour. All right, let's bring in John.
We will digest more.
Roberts, of course, a lot more. John Roberts from the White House. All right, John, what is the reaction down there in your neck of the woods?
Well, we haven't gotten any new reactions specifically to the sentencing memo that Mueller's Office of Special Counsel put out, but we do have statements in the past few days about this. President Trump suggesting that Michael Cohen lied to try to get a lenient sentence and that Michael Cohen, in fact, deserves a long sentence. And it looks like that is what he is going to get. The Office of Special Counsel recommending a modest reduction from the guidelines 51 to 63 months. It's interesting, too, that it's almost in a mocking tone of legalese that the special counsel's office goes after Michael Cohen's request to have no jail time, saying that the effect of this on his family, the loss of his law license, the loss of his business is punishment enough, and that he should be credit time served and not go to jail at all. The special counsel's office basically said, well, that's not the case. Your crimes were substantial and you deserve to go to jail for some time. So I would imagine if and when we hear something from the president or his legal team, I've reached out to Rudy Giuliani to see if he's got something to say about this, because he certainly had something to say about the Michael Cohen guilty plea a short time ago, that we'll hear something along the lines of Cohen is getting what the president and the president's legal team believe he deserves. Jesse.
All right, John, since the payment to Stormy and this other woman, they were not out of the campaign. These were payments made by Donald Trump, the citizen at the time. Can he argue that this was not campaign related and therefore it's not a campaign expenditure? And, this is something he was doing to protect his personal life, and people spend a lot of money. Jamie, just because it happened right before the election doesn't make it necessarily related to the election and necessitate a FEC filing.
Well, here's the great thing about the United States. You can argue anything you want. Whether or not it flies is another question. I mean, this is an argument that the president has made, is that this was a personal matter. It wasn't a campaign donation. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York and the district judge there begged to differ, to say that this, in fact, was an illegal campaign contribution on Michael Cohen's part, but they didn't tie it specifically to the president, though they did seem to indicate that the president had knowledge of this and that was cooperating in the efforts to silence Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels. So, again, whether or not this could legally be tied to the president, I think, is a matter of some debate. There's the Justice Department memo from the 1990s that says that a sitting president cannot be indicted, so they might not have even tried. But certainly they suggested that the president knew all about this, and regardless of what he or his counsel might argue, that this does constitute an illegal campaign donation, and as such, making false statements about it and doing it, Michael Cohen deserves some time behind bars.
All right, Marie.
John, in one of the documents we got from the Southern District of New York today, it outlines some of the assistance that Michael Cohen has been providing to the special counsel. We know he's been in many hours of interviews with the special counsel, and it doesn't give details, but it talks about Michael Cohen giving information about certain Russian nationals who are trying to reach out to the campaign and have, quote, synergy with the campaign. Not a lot of details about the Russian aspect, but some breadcrumbs that I think have been left here in this filing. What, if any, response have you gotten from the White House yet, or what do you expect them to say about some of these Russian insinuations in this filing today?
I think we have not gotten anything from the White House, first of all, on this, or from the president's outside legal team, Rudy Giuliani or Jay Sekulow. But I imagine, and if we heard something from Sarah Sanders in the next 30 seconds, I think that you would probably hear all of them say in a chorus worthy of A Christmas Carol, there is no evidence of collusion here that is demonstrated. That, Michael Cohen may be talking about some contacts with Russians, but there's still no evidence of collusion. That's been their story all along, and it's a story they're sticking to. What might be more interesting to see than the Michael Cohen sentencing memorandum and the attached addendum to that is what comes out in the Manafort case and whether or not that is as heavily redacted as the Michael Flynn one was, because that might seem to have some information that might be more relevant to this idea of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russians in terms of trying to influence the outcome of the election. But again, the mantra all along from the White House, from the Trump campaign, from the president's outside legal team has been there is no evidence in any of the things that we have seen so far of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia to throw the election.
All right, John, thank you very much.
You bet.
All right, let's bring in Alan Dershowitz, Harvard Law professor, constitutional scholar, who's been following this special counsel probe pretty closely. All right, Mr. Dershowitz, you've seen the memorandum, the filing on Cohen. What jumps out at you specifically?
I think there are two possibilities. One, that Cohen hasn't really provided them very much or hasn't been completely cooperative. Or two, that by recommending a very, very harsh sentence, they're putting more pressure on Cohen, maybe to come up with even more information, because the government has the power to get the sentence reduced afterward if they can tell a court that there was cooperation. So